Okay.
Right.
I'm ready.
Recording and stream.
I see Mr. Spiesman on there.
All right. We good?
I'm good, I'm ready to go. Miss April's, Miss Champions is zooming today.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my Lord. Please close the video on Niger Payne or put her in a waiting room. Miss Payne, go put on some clothes. Thank you. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we're going to begin with a misdemeanor state all-purpose calendar. These are misdemeanor criminal cases with the State Court of Fulton County involving individuals whose cases have been already formally accused, bonds have been set, and some of them have not been released from the jail, either because they've other holds or they've not been able to make bond. But in either event, today we're going to get a status of their cases. If you're a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Today, we're going to get a status of your cases, meaning that either you have decided to accept a recommendation from the prosecutor and that you've chosen to plead guilty or no contest to the charges in exchange for the recommended sentence. Otherwise, you have chosen to plead not guilty and you have your case scheduled for trial, at which point we will arraign your case. Other matters we may be addressing are also bond modifications, bench warrants in domestic violence cases, as well as our competency calendar. So let's begin with courtroom 2. Mr. Haddad, good morning.
Good morning, Judge. Seated next to me is position number 47.
Yes, sir.
That case is being null crossed based on an email that I received from the state, but he's physically here, Judge.
All right, let's see. Who's prosecuting this morning?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Ms. Daciano. Position, what was it, 49? 47. Macio Williams. Are we going to null process that charge?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll submit a null process.
Okay. Mr. Macio, your misdemeanor case is dismissed. I don't know if you have any other holds, but as far as I'm concerned, this case no longer exists. Thank you.
And Your Honor, he does have a hold. I think it's
Okay.
to Cobb County.
Got it? Next case, please. I have something at South Annex. And Mr. Haddad, I got your email. I am very sorry to hear about the elevator situation, but just let me know the status of the cases as we move on, okay?
The judge, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. South Annex, who do we have, please?
Curtis,
Your Honor, I'll need a breakout.
All right. And who is the client at South Annex?
Curtis Cofield.
Cofield? Okay. Mr. Cofield is, let me see. All right, position 8. And Mr. Cofield has 2 cases on the calendar. So, Mr. Cofield, your case numbers are 24 CR 7959G, accused of battery, and 24 CR 7619G, accused of simple battery and obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Tom White. Oh,
Okay.
here's another one?
Yes.
Oh, there are 3 cases. Mr. White, that's the 3rd case, 24 CR 7608G.
We're aware, Judge.
Okay, good. Ms. Champion, if you could place Mr. White and South Annex in a breakout, please. Deputy at South Annex, there'll be a message on the screen to join a breakout. Right, Mr. Haddad, who's your next case?
Your Honor, this is position number 44. Christopher Trammell, and he's a free judge.
All right. I have private counsel on Zoom as well, so I'm not sure who their clients are, but I'll let the deputies bring them forward as they choose to, as they see fit. Okay, Christopher Trammell is accused of simple battery and criminal trespass from December 5th, 2024. Mr. Trammell, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. Haddad. Mr. Haddad, how are we proceeding?
Honor, this case will be a plea, Judge.
All right. Mr. Trammell, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Ms. Desiano, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, for count one, the recommendation is 12 months served, 28 days. Credit for time served 14 days from December 6, 2024 to today. Balance probated. No contact with Shan Levy, a barber. Stay away from all MARTA property until August 1st, 2025, in accordance with the current MARTA suspension. 8 weeks of anger management or an MHET and no firearms. And count two is 12 months probation to run concurrent with count one. We'd ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and ID for purposes of the plea. And if Your Honor can sound for the victim, Ms. Barber, nothing further.
Shanlivia Barber, if you're on Zoom, this will be the time to unmute and start your video. All right. And Mr. Haddad, do you so stipulate? And which one has your client decided to go with?
The anger management, Judge, and we do stipulate for purposes of the plea, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Trammell, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No,
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
yes, I do.
And are you satisfied with your attorney at the present time?
Yes,
Are you entering a plea to these two charges freely, willingly, and knowingly?
yes,
So you understand that if you decide to plead guilty, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial. You will not get the opportunity to go back to a courtroom, to confront your accuser, to be able to challenge the evidence brought before you, present your own arguments and defenses with the assistance of counsel, and have the state prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
yes,
How do you plead to one count of simple battery and one count of criminal trespass?
yes,
For the simple battery, your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days. Since you've already completed the 14 days, you'll be released within 24 hours and you will report to probation this Monday, which will be December 23rd. Probation, are you open on the 23rd? Ms. Thomas or JCS probation, are you open?
Yes, Your Honor. We're
Okay,
open.
thank you, thank you. Are you open on Tuesday and Thursday? Or do you reopen on Friday?
We're open on the 30th and the 30th, and no, we don't see anybody on Fridays, but we're open on the 30th and the 31st.
30th and 31st.
And on the
Okay,
23rd.
23rd. So next week's only one day.
Yes.
Okay,
No.
got it.
I'm sorry. 23rd, 26th, 27, but we don't see people on the 27th.
Okay, so 23rd.
Thursday, the 26th, we're open.
Okay, so next week's only 23rd and 26th. Okay,
Yes.
got it. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
All right, as I was saying, Mr. Trammell, once you're released, you must report to Fulton County Probation on Monday, December 23rd, 2024, before 3 p.m. While you're on probation, you shall comply with the following conditions: to stay away from all MARTA property, buses, trains, and stations until August 1st, 2025, which is your current MARTA suspension. While you're on probation, you will also enroll and complete 8 anger management classes. You must enroll in those classes within 30 days of being released, and you must complete all 8 weekly classes and provide the certificate of completion to your probation officer. You are not to have any contact with Shanlivia Barber. You're to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. Count 2 on the criminal trespass will be concurrent with count 1. You'll report to probation every month until the remainder of your 11 months of probation are completed. Thank you.
Good morning, Judge. This is gonna,
Morning.
actually, they haven't heard the announcement. I mean, they're right.
Okay. Looks like courtroom 2 is still busy. So ACDC, good morning. My name is Judge Lal, and we are going to begin with our state all-purpose calendar. If you have one or more charges against you, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to say during the course of this virtual proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Could Desiree Banks and the other lady with the WingTech phone please stop your video? You can chime in when you're ready to address the case you're interested in. Thank you. All right. ACDC, Deputy Francois, who do we have next to you?
This is gonna be position number 14, Favors.
That's my case, Judge, and that'll be a plea.
All right. This is Shakita Favors, accused of theft by deception in case 23 CR 8219G from December 23rd, 2023. Ms. Favors, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. Haddad. Please, may I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Your Honor, state's recommendation is time served, 158 days, credit for time served, 79 days from December 24th, 2023 to March 11th, 2024. And we'd ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis in ID, nothing further.
We stipulate for purposes of the plea, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Favors, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And has he explained to you that if you decide to enter a plea, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, not to be able to confront your accuser, challenge evidence brought to you against you in a court of law, present arguments and defenses, and have the state prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to theft by deception?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 158 days, credit for time served 79 days. You have served your obligation for this case, and it is now closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Am I doing South Annex? Are they ready? Or Mr. White? No? All right. Court 2, who's next?
We can go to position number 1, Mr. Abdullahi.
Sulaiman Abdullahi. Mr. Abdullahi is accused of criminal trespass and theft by shoplifting from December 6, 2024 in case 24 CR 0080131J. Ms. Lewis, is there a particular reason this case is highlighted?
No, that's Ms. Falk. I guess there's their notes. I guess
Okay.
this case is belong to Ms. Falk. I don't know.
All right, no problem. Okay, so these are the two charges, and Mr. Abdullahi, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Haddad. How are we proceeding? Oh, Mr. White, excuse me. Your attorney is Tom White. Mr. White, how are we?
Your Honor, this will be a negotiated plea, and as well as the South Annex, position 8, that's going, or 9 is a waiver.
Okay, on Mr. Cofield, Curtis Cofield, position 8, that's going to be a waiver of arraignment, and that case is going to be further noticed for trial. All right, for Mr. Abdullahi, please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Speak up, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation for count 1 is 12 months served 28 days, credit for time served 14 days from December 6, 2024 to today. Concurrent with count 2, stay away from Walmart at 970 Mansell Road. For count 2, 12 months served 28 days, credit for time served 14 days from same date balance probated, complete an anti-theft course, and 40 hours of community service, and stay away from the Walmart at 970 Mansell Road in Roswell. And we'd ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis in ID.
We do stipulate, Your Honor, we just ask that probation terminate or go non-reporting upon completion of his
Ms.
requirement.
Desiano?
No objection to termination, Your Honor. After
Mr.
the-
Abdullah? Okay, thank you. Mr. Abdullahi, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with Mr. Haddad
Yes.
or any legal services you received so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Freely.
And knowingly?
Unknowingly, yes, ma'am.
You understand that 3 convictions for theft by shoplifting on your record can have a very negative effect because any subsequent arrest for shoplifting will automatically be a felony charge.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Has it been explained to you that in order to accept your plea, you would have to waive your right to a trial before a judge or a jury to be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, lose the right to present your arguments and defenses in court, and also have the state carry its burden and prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass and theft by shoplifting?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you the question again, maybe you'll pay attention. How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass and theft by shoplifting? I accept your guilty plea. Your sentence for criminal trespass is 12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days. It will be concurrent with count 2. You'll be required to stay away from the Walmart at 970 Mansell Road in in Roswell. For the theft by shoplifting, in addition to being on probation, you will also complete an anti-theft class, and you must enroll in that class within 60 days of being released. You're also to complete 40 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school. You will complete your community service at a minimum rate of 5 hours per month until the 40 hours are completed. At all times, stay away from the Walmart on Mansell Road. Once you've completed your 40 hours community service, your anti-theft class, and you are up to date with your probation fees, then your probation will terminate. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. McLeod, do you have to speak to any of your clients? You can have a seat.
Good morning. I do have to speak to Mr. Porter. I understand he's in Cobb County.
No, he's in courtroom 2 right now.
Oh, he is. Okay, great. I need to speak with him.
Go ahead and call 22060.
What number?
We're gonna give you a call, Ms. McLeod.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Deputy, is Mr. Spisman's client in the courtroom too?
So he'll be brought on jail courtside phone.
Okay. All right, thank you. For ACDC, who do we have?
Position number 32, McCray.
This is Stephanie McCray. Ms. McCray has a case 24 CR 8101J. Ms. McCray, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Haddad. Okay, thank you. Ms. McCray has 1 count of battery, family violence, and 4 counts of cruelty in the 3rd degree. The gentleman who is on a Motorola, please stop your video unless you are addressing this case. And you need to put your camera right side up because you're upside down. All right. Are you driving at the present time? Okay, thank you. Stop your video. Thank you. All right. As I was saying, Ms. McCray is accused of these 5 misdemeanor offenses. Mr. Haddad, how are we proceeding?
That'll be a plea, Judge.
All right. Mr. McCray, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes,
Thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation for counts 1 through 4 Our time served 172 days, credit for time served 86 days. For count 5, the battery, the state's recommendation is 12 months probation to run consecutive to count 4. No further contact with Devon Sewell. Stay away from 4132 Eldon Drive, Family Violence Intervention Program, and no firearms. We'd ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and ID for purposes of the plea. We have been in touch with the victim. She's in agreement with the plea offer, and she may be on the line, Your Honor, if you can sound for her.
Devon Sewell, if you're on Zoom, this will be the time to unmute and start your video.
I'm here.
All right, Ms. Sewell, did you have anything to add with regards to this possible plea?
No, like I said, I'll set it up, I leave it time for her to be like a coach.
All right, I couldn't hear a single word she said, but you don't have a problem with the recommendation? All right, please mute your screen. Thank you. All right, Mr. Haddad, do you so stipulate?
Judge, we stipulate, I'd just request the court to consider non-reporting upon completion of all her conditions, Judge.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, it'll be non-reporting. All right, Ms. McCray, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your case?
I do, ma'am, yes.
You do understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do, yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes, I am.
If you decide to enter this plea, you would have to give up your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not get the chance to go back to a courtroom, have the assistance of counsel, be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, present your arguments and defenses, and have the state carry its burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights? I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
How do you plead to 4 counts of cruelty in the 3rd degree and 1 count of battery family violence?
Guilty.
For the 4 counts of for the 4 counts of cruelty in the 3rd degree is going to be time served 172 days, credit for time served 86 days. For the battery family violence, this is going to be a 12 months consecutive to the other charges. That means you'll be on probation for the next 12 months. Once you are released within 24 hours, you report to Fulton County Probation on Monday, December 23rd, 2024, before 3 p.m. While on probation, you will comply with the following conditions. No further contact with Devon Sewell. You're to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. You're to stay away from 4132 Eldon Drive and also enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. You will enroll in the program within 30 days of being released. You will attend all 26 weeks of classes without skipping any classes and pay for those classes out of your own pocket. At all times, you're not allowed to own, possess, or have any firearms anywhere near you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and her probation will be non-reporting once she has completed all her conditions and her probation fees are up to date. Thank you.
Your Honor, we can go to position number 2 and 3 on the add-on. Mr. Porter.
This is State versus Charles Gary Porter III. Mr. Porter has 2 separate cases. Mr. Porter, first of all, I'd like to remind you, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Your first case, you're accused of affray fighting under accusation 24 CR 7121B from October 16th, 2024. Your second case, 24 CR 6850B, you're accused of battery from October 3rd, 2024. How are you proceeding, Ms. McLeod?
This is going to be a negotiated plea this morning, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Porter, please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Tessiano?
Yes, Your Honor, for position 2, the affray, the state's recommendation is 12 months served, 128 days, credit for time served 64 days from October 17th, 2024 to today, balance probated. No further contact with Sonia Stevens. Stay away from all MARTA properties, complete an MHET, and this will run concurrent with position 3. Position 3 is 12 months. Oh, wait a minute. These are, okay. So for position 3, it's going to be 12 months probation. No further contact with Sonia Stevens. Stay away from all MARTA properties. There's a note showing they'll run concurrent to each other, Your Honor. The state asked the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and ID for purposes of the plea. And if you can sound for Ms. Stevens.
We do so stipulate.
Sonia Stevens, if you're on Zoom, this is the time to unmute and start your video. No? Mr. Porter, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
Ma'am.
And have you understood what's going on in your case
Yes, ma'am.
or cases?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your legal services?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you entering a plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if you decide to enter this plea, then you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not get the chance to go back to court with your attorney, to confront your accuser, challenge evidence that will be brought before you, present arguments, defenses, and mitigating factors, and have the state carry its burden to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Ma'am.
Did he say yes, Ms. McLeod?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Porter, how do you plead to one count of affray fighting from October 16th of this year?
Guilty.
How do you plead to battery from October 3rd of this year?
Guilty.
With regards to the affray, it's 12 months to serve 128 days, credit for time served 64 days. If you have no other holds, you'll be released within 24 hours. You report to probation on Monday, December 23rd of this year, before 3 p.m. While on probation, you will complete an MH evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment that's required. You must enroll in that MH evaluation within 30 days of being released with any qualified healthcare provider. You're also to stay away from all MARTA properties. I understand that he has a suspension until December 15th of next year. Is that correct?
That is my understanding, Your Honor.
All right. So in that sense, Mr. Porter, you're to stay away from all MARTA property, stations, buses, trains, and their facilities until December 15th of 2025. With regards to the battery, it's going to be concurrent to the previous case. The addition, with the same condition that you have no contact with Sonia Stevens. You're to stay 200 yards away from Sonia Stevens. You're not to communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. And again, stay away from all MARTA property until December 15, 2025.
Your Honor, I would like to ask if the court would consider suspending the probation fees for at least the first 3 months, because Mr. Porter has been locked up for quite some time. And I know he did have a job before his arrest, but of course, he's not going to be able to go back to that job, if at all, certainly not immediately.
Does he have any holds?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
No.
Probation fees are waived through February of 2025, and he will start paying probation fees from March 1st, 2025 onwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Position number 41, Roundsville.
Dana Roundsville is accused of simple battery from November 30th, 2023. Her accusation is 24 CR 7975J. Ms. Roundsville, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Haddad. Is this a plea, Mr. Haddad?
It is, Judge. My only request is to allow her to report telephonically. She lives in Eatonton, which is near Milledgeville, Judge. That's the only request. But other than that, it'll be a negotiated plea, Judge.
She can't come from there once a month?
Your Honor, I mean, if the court orders, obviously she'll have to. I mean, she does reside there. This crime occurred back in 2023, Judge. She
Okay.
never lived here in full.
I'm going to require her to report once a month in person, and then once she completes all the conditions, her probation may be non-reporting.
Understood.
All right. Ms. Roundsville, may I place you under oath for purposes of the plea?
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Tessiano?
Yes, Your Honor. State's recommendation is 12 months, served 30 days, credit for time served 15 days from December 5th, 2024 to today, balance probated, no further contact with Heather Perliman, stay away from 1645 Moreland Avenue Southwest, complete 8 weeks of anger management and 40 hours of community service, and no firearms. We'd ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and ID, and if you could sound for Ms. Heather Perliman.
Heather Perliman, if you want to contribute, you need to unmute and start your video. Mr. Haddad, do you so stipulate?
Stipulate, Judge.
Ms. Roundsville, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your case so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand that by entering a plea, you won't get the chance to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not go back
Yes,
to a
ma'am.
courtroom with your attorney to confront your accusers, challenge the evidence brought against you, present your own arguments and defenses, and make the state carry its burden to prove the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of simple battery?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. You'll be released within 24 hours, but your first visit must be at the Fulton County Probation, located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta.
Yes, ma'am.
This visit will be before 3 p.m. on December 23rd, 2024, which is this coming Monday.
Yes,
While
ma'am.
you're on probation, you will report once a month in person. You are to have no contact with Heather Perliman. Stay 200 yards away from her and do not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, including social media. You're also
Yes, ma'am.
required to stay away from the location, 1645 Moreland Avenue in Southwest Atlanta. Enroll in an 8-week anger management program. You are to enroll within 45 days of being released, and you will complete all 8 anger management classes without skipping any class at your expense. In addition to that, you are to complete 40 hours of voluntary community service. You can do that with any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school. You must
Ma'am.
complete a minimum of 5 hours per month.
Will I be able to go to sometime?
You can do that in Milledgeville or wherever the town you live in.
Okay.
At all times, you're not allowed to own, possess, or have any firearms near you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And once you've completed the 8 weeks of anger management classes, the 40 hours of community service, and you are up to date with your probation fees, then your probation will be non-reporting, which means that you don't have to come back in person, but you are still considered to be in compliance with your conditions.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Judge, I do have a quick announcement for position number 34, Shava Moore. That's gonna be a reset due to she's actually at grading.
Okay. This will be reset to December 26th. Anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Thank you. Courtroom 2,
Next, we can go to position number 9, Mr. Aaron Coleman.
Aaron Coleman is accused of battery and willful obstruction of an officer from December 5th of this year. Accusation
We don't-
24.
Judge, I believe it's a conflict case.
Aaron Coleman?
This is some calls.
Yes,
All right.
Judge.
All right.
He was at the SEA counter on his case, and plus he has an additional case on the counter that they're trying to resolve too.
All right.
That's
Mr.
not-
White, I believe this is Maureen McLeod's case. Ms. McLeod, are you on Zoom?
Your Honor, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Coleman, I think has another case on the 26th.
He has two cases before us today. 24 CR 8019B, and he has another case, 24 CR 8035B.
And that one is scheduled on the December 26th calendar. I don't know how they got split up, Judge.
All right. But are we addressing all these cases today?
The state is prepared to go forward on both of his cases. I did add the add-on as part of the recommendation.
Does he have three cases or two?
He has two cases, Judge.
Two that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
One is scheduled already on December the 26th calendar.
Which one?
The 24 CR 008035B, the one that's written in the.
Okay. If we dispose of both these cases today, then he won't be addressing the case on the 26th.
That is correct.
All right, understood. Ms. McLeod, is this your client, Aaron Coleman?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and how are we proceeding with him today?
I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet or to see what the state's offer is on both cases.
Would you
So
be able to
once-
call courtroom 2?
Yes, Your Honor, I can call them once
All
I
right.
see what the state's offer is, or if Ms. Falk wants to tell me now what the state's offer is.
Ms. Falk, if you can put that in the chat to Ms. McLeod, I'm sure she can relay that to a client.
I
All
already
right.
have, Your Honor.
Okay,
All right.
I see it. Thank
All
you.
right. Next case in courtroom 2?
Position number 42, Mr. Sharp.
4-2. Jonathan Sharp with the silent E is case 24 CR 8009C.
Case two.
That's Miss McLeod's case as well. Mr. Sharp, have you
Sorry,
spoken?
Your Honor, I did not hear, I'm sorry. I just heard my name.
The next case, 42, is Jonathan Sharp. Have you
All right.
spoken with him?
Judge,
Not,
Okay, so,
Judge,
Ms. Falk? Nope, what?
It's my case, Judge, Mr.
Oh,
Sharp.
all right, we have the battle of the attorneys, okay. Ooh,
Sound familiar, but
He was, Ms. McLeod, you represent him on the SEA count on December the 7th of 2024. In front of Judge Mincy.
okay,
He was on the expedited calendar, accusation count on December the 7th, and he was present.
okay.
The conflict, I mean, the PD says otherwise, and
Judge, I mean, I was, I was unaware of the conflict. I spoke to him.
that's
yesterday
fine.
To resolve the case. I'm ready. So.
Well,
it doesn't matter to me.
if Miss,
I think if Mr. Haddad is ready with him, he should go forward because it sounds like he's ready to resolve the case.
is the public defender's office waiving their conflict with regards to Mr. Sharp, since you apparently had one at the first appearance?
We waive, Judge. I mean, for me, I don't even know what the what the conflict was. I'm assuming, the only thing I can imagine is that we represented the alleged victim at some point. And and she's on, Judge. If the court will just bear with me 1 second, just very briefly, Judge, and I'll put it on the record. Yep. Judge, we can't. I see that the reason we're conflicting out is because we represent Ms. Banks on a felony charge, and
Okay,
just to be
got it.
clear, let Ms. McLeod deal with it.
Miss Falk, if you could please relay the plea offer to Miss Maureen McLeod. And as Mr. Sharp is already aware of the plea offer, I think that would be a very brief conversation with Miss McLeod. All right,
I'd
so
already sent it to her.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you,
I did
Mr.
as well, and Ms. DeCiano will be handling the case.
Let's see how we do with the next case. Miss McLeod will have to speak with him.
That lady, Ms. McLeod, she can talk to you, but the office things. Stop her and let her know what you should do.
Do we have any cases in courtroom 2 for Mr. Haddad or Mr. White?
No, Your Honor.
Yeah.
All right. Are we still waiting on jail court iPhone or the other locations?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, can I just make a quick announcement on Mr. Perez? That might guide me a little bit.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Perez is PE.
He's on the add-on calendar, position 1.
Add-on calendar. Okay. Theodore Perez. Yes, sir. What's the announcement?
Thank you, Judge. He was, to the best of my knowledge, on a pretrial service bond, and then he picked up new charges, so pretrial came off the bond. We don't have the intention to enter a plea today, so I guess the only question I would have for this court is, in my experience, Your Honor, would hear bond or give him a bond because a bond is required in the statute? But I didn't know how you generally handle that.
I generally handle it if he's present, first of all, and then the second thing is if his pretrial bond was surrendered due to failure to comply, then you can file a waiver of arraignment, and the case will be further notice for trial, and he'll be scheduled with the division judge to address bond.
Okay, so that's what we would need to do, Your Honor. So would
Yeah.
you like to wait until he's present for that?
It's up to you, sir. If you want to file a waiver of arraignment right now,
He already did,
oh, he already did, so,
April the 1st of 2024.
oh, okay. So then the case is going to be further notice for trial. Let me see, you got a plea offer from the state, Mr. Spisman?
I did, Judge, but he's being held on no bond on another case, so we just want to be ready to entertain that this time.
Let me see. Yeah, his bond was surrendered by pretrial.
And Your Honor, just to update you, he has a $2,500 surety bond on the case that pretrial came off of. So there is a bond currently pending. He also has 24 PI 008864, which is a lengthy list of felony charges.
I
where
see
he's
it.
on no bond, and it involves the same victim.
Yeah. So, Mr. Spisman, Ms. Falk is correct. On the felony case, he's in a no bond status. But on this misdemeanor case, surrendering the bond simply means that his signature bond is converted to a surety bond, and it's a 2,500 surety bond.
Yes,
Okay,
Judge, and I
fine.
believe the waiver's filed, and I suppose he'll surface in the trial court division.
Okay. So what would you like to do? Would you like to wait to address him, or?
I don't, Judge. I visited him at the jail on Monday, and he'll call me. So I think that we are all in agreement with what needs to happen.
All right. Theodore Miguel Perez, position 1 on the add-on, is going to be further notice for trial.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can I please be
All right.
excused?
Yes, sir. Have a good
All right.
weekend. Take care.
Take care. You too. Bye.
Mhm. All right. My other case on position on the add-on calendar is Shunta Robbins. Is that your client, Mr. Haddad?
Get a waive on that case, Judge.
It's a waiver? Okay,
Yes, it is a waiver. I'll file it, once I'm done from court, Judge.
all right. So Shunta Robbins, position 4 on the add-on calendar is further notice for trial. Do you have any other waivers on the main calendar that we can address?
Yes, Judge, I can do that. John, on position number 2 and, sorry, did you say the add-on or I apologize?
The main calendar,
Position number 2 and 3, Judge, that's gonna be a waiver.
all right? Hafid Abdul Rabbani is going to be a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial.
Position number 28 and 29, Lyons, that's also waiver.
All right, 28 and 29. Let me get there. Sorry there. Over 50 cases right now, lots of pages. Okay, 28 and 29, you say?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Yoram Naban Lyons or Leons, I'm not sure, but this is a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. What else?
Position number 35 through 37, Malik Payne, that's also a waiver.
I'm not really.
All right. Waiver of arraignment, further notice. 30, Malik Payne, who's got 1, 2,
But I'm not like from the.
5, 36. All right. Yeah, they're all, none of these are bench warrants, so they're all waiver of arraignment and further notice.
Position number 45, Trimble, TRIS. That's a
Okay.
waiver. That's gonna be a waiver.
All right.
And the next position, 46, same announcement, Waldrop, it's gonna be
Yeah.
a waiver.
Waldrop is a waiver and further notice for trial. Okay.
The last one I have so far is number 48, Philip Williams, that's gonna be a waiver as well.
All right. So noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Tom White, do you have any announcements that you would like to make on any of your cases before any of them show up on screen?
Your Honor, position 4, we're waiving. I think the state is recommending that DA's office, but in the meantime, we're just going to go ahead and waive. If
right.
it goes over, it'll be a different situation. And most likely 7's going to be waiver, but that's also another one for the state.
What position is that? Oh, what's the client? So DeAndre Anderson is waived and further notice. Who else?
Position 7, DeMario Brown.
DeMario Brown. Okay, that's a waiver and further notice for trial. Who else?
I believe I've already announced 8 as a waiver, and I believe that's it, Judge.
All right. The rest of your cases are going to be pleased?
Oh, 5. I'm sorry, position 5. Napoleon Brooks is a
All
waiver.
right. Napoleon Brooks is going to be further notice for trial. And who else?
That's all the waivers, Judge. We're resetting 15 to 1-2, 19 to 114. He has a preliminary on a felon on the 10th, so.
So 119?
19, 114.
114, excuse me. Okay.
23, position 23, I go to 1-2.
You ask the judge.
All right.
Position 26, 1-9. There are still a few that I haven't been able to speak with due to the elevator situation.
Okay.
Okay, 26 has several cases. He's also had a case.
27 is, that's also reset to 19.
And he also has another one on the calendar. It's 40 something.
Sylvester Kennedy, he has another case. All of them are going to be reset to 19?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor, he's also position 43.
43.
So 26, 27, and 43.
How did he get?
Because the way they spell his name.
Okay.
They put his first name first and last name last.
All right, reset to 19/2025. Okay.
550.
Was that it, Mr. White? All the others are pleased?
we have one more plea, and then I
And then you have to talk to the others.
anticipate pleas on those, but you know.
Okay, well, I just wanted to see if we can use this idle time while we're waiting for one of the jail facilities to chime in. Oh, Jail Court iPhone is here. Excellent.
Yes, Judge, I have position number 24, Mr. Jenkins. They said he has a private attorney.
Mr. Spisman? No.
Mr. Jenkins,
Oh, no. You said 44?
24.
24. Who is this private attorney? Let me see. Who is
So-
it?
Not on the calendar.
No, he doesn't have a private attorney. He was just on the SAP calendar, I mean, the SE calendar on.
Who's the private attorney? We don't know who it is. No one's filed an entry of appearance.
Well, maybe I got his name mixed up with somebody else, but he's position number 24. Ellis Jenkins.
And I need to speak to him, Judge. He's one of
All
those
right.
that I want to speak to.
Go ahead and put, can Jail Court iPhone, what's the best way for counsel to speak with his client? We've had this elevator situation where the PD attorneys have not been able to reach their clients in time today.
I can try and call with the office phone up here. I'll try to call courtroom 2.
All right. Mr. Haddad, is there a phone available in courtroom 2 that's not being used by Ms. McLeod?
Yes.
Yeah, there is, Judge.
All right. If someone can put in the chat to Jail Court iPhone the number to be reached, that will be helpful.
292, Gopi.
Which one?
Sure. You said the time.
404.
2 or 3 more weeks, right?
612
Yeah.
392 2392.
Gotcha. All right.
Thank you, Deputy.
No problem.
All right.
We can go back to Mr. Sharp, position number 42.
Okay, thank you. Jonathan Sharp is accused of battery family violence from December 6 under accusation 24 CR 8009C. Mr. Sharp, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Maureen McLeod. Is Ms. McLeod available? Is she talking to the other client?
She's available. She's done speaking. She just finished.
Okay, let's wait for it to appear. All right, there we go. Okay. Ms. McLeod, your client Jonathan Sharp is on Zoom. And
Yes.
how would you like to proceed?
Going to be a negotiated plea today, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Sharp, please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? And Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is 12 months, served 26 days, credit for time served 13 days from December 7th, 2024 to today, balance probated, no further violent contact with Desiree Banks, family violence intervention program, 40 hours of community service, and no firearms. We'd ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and ID for purposes of the plea. And if Your Honor can sound for Miss Banks, she's on the line, Your Honor. She did tell us that she wants the case to be dismissed and does not want us to go forward. And I expect she may tell you that.
All right then. Ms. Banks, if you'd like to unmute and start your video. All right. All right. Ms. Banks, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes,
What would you like to tell us?
I'd like to tell you that despite the charges. That's not exactly what happened that day. It was somebody who was pumping gas that didn't see what transpired between us. And I've been in his life and his daughter's life for 9 years. And I just want to say he's a beautiful soul and I care for the family very, very much. I don't want to proceed with any of this.
Okay. Well, you understand that the decision to proceed with the charges or the prosecution is solely with the Solicitor General's office.
I do understand that. They did let me know. Yeah.
And if they choose to proceed with the prosecution, then that decision is out of our hands.
I understand.
All right. Now, if Mr. Sharp wants to proceed with entering a guilty plea to this charge, that's entirely between him and his attorney. But the ultimate decision is up to him.
Understood.
He can either decide to plead guilty or no contest to the charge today, or he can decide to go to trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor who is pursuing this case has the complete responsibility to prove the charge against Mr. Sharp beyond a reasonable doubt. And if they are unable to do so, then Mr. Sharp will be acquitted of the charge. But that's a decision that Mr. Sharp will have to make with the assistance of his attorney.
And I understand.
All right. Anything else?
Just like to see him home with his daughter for Christmas.
Well, the plea right now, if he decides to plead guilty, is no violent contact with you, to do a domestic violence program, community service, and not have any firearms. All right. Anything else to add?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Please mute your screen. All right. Ms. McLeod, is your client willing to move forward with this?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, he's indicated that he's ready to take the plea.
All right. And do you so stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID, Ms. McLeod?
We do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Sharp, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
Right.
And have you understood what's going on in your case?
That's right.
You've just heard from Desiree Banks. She apparently is not going to be a very willing or voluntary witness for the state. Are you still willing to plead guilty to battery, family violence, freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your legal services?
Yes, ma'am.
And this decision to plead guilty, that is ultimately your decision?
Yes, ma'am.
If you decide to plead guilty to this charge today, this will be a conviction on your record. And any subsequent arrest for battery, family violence will automatically be a felony charge. Do you understand that?
Right.
And also, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial. You will not be able to go back to court to be able to confront your accuser, who in this case would be Ms. Banks, to be able to challenge the evidence that will be brought against you. You will not get the chance to have your counsel help you to present your arguments, your defenses, and also you give up the right for the prosecutor to have to do her job to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up all these rights? Repeat?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of battery, family violence involving Desiree Banks on December 6, 2024?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for time served 13 days. You'll be released within 24 hours. You report to Fulton County Probation on Monday, December 23rd before 3 p.m. While on probation, you are to have no violent contact with Desiree Banks. There cannot be any physical or verbal altercations involving Ms. Banks. Within 30 days of being released, you are to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. This is a 26-week program. You will have to attend those classes once a week at your expense. You're also to complete 40 hours of community service at any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school. You will complete the community service at a minimum rate of 5 hours per month. At all times, you're not allowed to own, possess, or have any firearms anywhere near you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Coleman is also going to be a negotiated plea, Your Honor.
All right. Let's address position 8.
For his 2 cases.
All right. Oh, position 9, excuse me. All right. Mr. Aaron Coleman has 2 separate cases, 24 CR 8019B, accused of battery and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from December 5th, 2024. His second case is 24 CR 008035B, accused of simple battery. And with respect to the second case, we will remove it from the December 26th, 2024 calendar and address both of them today. Mr. Coleman, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is Ms. McLeod. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Do you raise your right hand then? Raise your right hand. Your right hand, just like the way I've got my hand up. Yep, that's how you take an oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Best of my knowledge.
Yes or no?
Sure.
Was that a yes? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Ms. Falk or Ms. Desiano, what are the terms for both these cases?
Yes, Your Honor. For the first case, the battery is 12 months served 60 days, credit for time served 14 days. That's going to be from December 5th, 2024 until today. Balance probated, no further contact with Colin Brown. We are requesting an MHET or a BHET or 12 weeks anger management. So the defense needs to let us know which one they have selected. Count 2 will be 12 months concurrent with count 1, $300 fine. The add-on case, which ends in 8035B, which is a simple battery, will be 12 months served 45 days, credit for time served 12 days from December 5th, 2024 until today. No further contact with Walter Henderson, and this is to run concurrent with the previous case. We would at this time like to sound for Colin Brown or Walter Henderson, and we do ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and identification for the purposes of this plea.
We do so stipulate.
Right. Colin Brown or Walter Henderson. If you're present, you're free to contribute to the proceedings. You need to unmute and start your video. All right, I don't see either one. Mr. Coleman, I have to ask you a series of questions in order to determine whether you're going to be pleading guilty to these charges freely, willingly, and knowingly. I'll need you to answer yes or no, and then if you want to explain, you can answer. You can explain if you choose to do so.
Ma'am, I have a question. I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the accuser is not here. So how can you continue with the case if it's a conflict case?
This is not a trial calendar. This is a plea and arraignment calendar. The victims are not required to be present. If they choose to be present, they are also free to contribute to the proceeding. Today is not the day for the prosecutor to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Today is your day to confer with your attorney and decide whether you want to give up your constitutional rights to a trial in front of a judge or a jury and plead guilty to these charges, irrespective of whether the victim is present or not, or whether you would like to plead not guilty and have your cases scheduled for a trial. At the time of the trial, you are legally presumed innocent of the charges, and the prosecutor has the complete burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Of course, at the time of the trial, the victims may also be required to be present.
Okay.
So as today is not a trial calendar, would you like to move forward with the trial? I mean, with the plea, or would you like to have a trial?
I'll move forward with the plea.
Repeat?
I'll move forward with the plea.
Okay. As I said, I'm going to be asking you a series of questions.
I do have one question. If I represent myself today, would I be able to do trial today as well?
No.
Okay.
You can represent yourself, but the trial will not be today.
When would I be able to get an earliest trial if I represent myself? Because it's a conflict trial, and they just picked me up on the street. So I'm like, that's easily a not guilty plea because the complaint is continuing to not show up.
Okay. I'm going to reset both these cases to December 26th for both the victims to appear. If they choose to do so, it will have no bearing on a plea, and that will not be a trial calendar. And at that time, Mr. Coleman, you can ask more questions of your counsel with regards to what your rights are in terms of a plea or in terms of a trial. Okay? Both these cases are reset to December 26th. And that's my final decision.
How can you do that? Okay. I choose to represent myself as well.
All right. Ms. McLeod, it appears that Mr. Coleman wants to waive his right to counsel and represent himself. Mr.
Yes,
Coleman, if you choose to represent yourself, you are responsible for understanding how the law applies to the facts of your case and what are the ramifications and consequences of any legal decisions that you make. That's entirely up to you.
Okay.
If you choose to represent yourself, you will not have the benefit of a lawyer who understands not only the rules governing your case, but also the law, the consequences, and how it may impact your future. Are you willing to waive your right to counsel and represent yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. From the nature of the questions you have asked me, I'm very concerned that you have little or no understanding of the law. So if you choose to represent yourself, that's entirely up to you.
Okay. If this is a conflict issue and a complaint is
Mr. Coleman, again, I'm telling you, I'm not very confident about your knowledge of the law. So if you choose to represent yourself, it's entirely up to you. Do you want to represent? Listen, do you want to represent yourself?
I would like the president to come pick me up, and that is it.
Do you want to represent yourself? Do you want to represent yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. McLeod, I'm going to allow you to withdraw from this case, and Mr. Coleman's cases will be reset to December 26th at 9 a.m. for him to decide whether he wants to take a plea or whether he wants to enter a not guilty plea and have a trial.
Sure.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court this morning. May I be excused?
Oh, before that, I'm going to let Ms. Lewis go over the calendar and just clarify that you are in fact done with all the cases. So please
Yes,
hold.
sir.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Haddad, have you completed your conference with Jail Court iPhone?
I have an announcement on that case, Judge. We're gonna ask to reset it to the second.
Could you remind me what case that was?
Sure, that's position number 24, Ellis Jenkins.
Ellis Jenkins, so that's going to be reset to December 26th?
No, Judge, January 2nd.
January 2nd, okay.
And also have some other announcement as well for resets whenever the court wishes to hear from.
I will do that as soon as I complete. Who do we have at Jail Court iPhone?
Judge, you asked me about Mr. Cloud's other case.
We have on an add-on calendar, we have position number 1, Mr. Perez.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Perez, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney's name is Justin Spisman. Your case number is 24 CR 1153Y. I'm just informing you that Mr. Justin Spisman appeared this morning. He understands that your current bond for the misdemeanor case is $2,500. It is a good bond or a surety bond. In your felony case, you're currently in a no bond status. Your misdemeanor case for simple assault family violence is going to be reset for trial, and Mr. Spisman will get in touch with you next week to discuss your cases with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Can somebody tell me what the announcement on number 11 is, Mr. Leroy Cooper, because the other case, the add-on case that they put on there needed a conflict of attorney assigned.
Leroy Cooper?
Judge, that's one of the ones I haven't spoken to yet. Was not aware of a conflict.
Well, the second case, 24 CR 00492, the one that they added on the calendar, needs a conflict attorney assigned to it, according to Odyssey.
I believe if one is a conflict, then both would be a conflict.
Yes.
And Your Honor,
Miss,
all 3 of 9, 10, and 11 were on SCA. I think you were the judge, but we determined at SCA, from my recollection, that there actually needs to be 2 conflict attorneys because it's all related to the same incident.
okay. So on Mr. Coleman, he's not, okay, I don't know about Mr. Coleman, but he'll need conflict. Miss McLeod, Leroy Cooper is case 24 CR 008 006G. Yeah.
I believe that was a case where there were 3 separate people, including my client. She was a female.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
It
So
was a criminal trespass case where there were 3 separate people. So Mr. Cooper needed somebody else. I think he went pro se for the bond hearing, but
okay.
he needs a separate
Conflict.
conflict attorney.
I'll see if Mr. Dennis Murphy is available to represent him. All right.
Yes, sir.
But
And-
Robert Coleman, to my recollection, was handled by the PD's office. Leroy Cooper, apologies, I'm switching them. Leroy Cooper was handled by the PD. Robert Coleman was the one who represented himself. Maureen McLeod represented the female who got a pretrial services bond, and position 9 has nothing to do with 10 or 11.
Right.
Okay. So Aaron Coleman is now, Miss McLeod has withdrawn from that case, so he's representing himself. Position 10, Robert Coleman. Do I need a conflict counsel for him?
Robert
I think he's a
Coleman
third
will,
person in the criminal trespass case.
All right, so,
Yes or no?
so yes or no, do I need conflict or not?
you will need a conflict counsel for Robert Coleman. You will not for Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper was represented by the PD's office.
Okay, so, all right. Now, Mr. Cooper has 2 cases. The second case, 24 CR 492G, apparently conflicts him out of PD's office. Mr. White was originally going to represent him. So Leroy Cooper, does he need a conflict or not? Mr. White?
Judge, like I said, I wasn't aware of a conflict, but if there is a conflict on the add-on case and we're conflicted on that one, we're conflicted on the other one.
That's what I thought. Okay. Mr. Leroy Cooper, I'm going to appoint Miss Zakiya Watson Cafe. All right, and if they appear, I'll just need to let them know that the case is going to be reset until their attorneys can speak with them. All right. Are there any other cases for Miss McLeod on this calendar?
Nope, that will be it.
All right, Miss Lewis, you're in the clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused then?
Yes, you have a great weekend. Thank you.
You too.
Happy holidays.
Same to you, Judge.
Position number 10, these are conflict attorneys, but not Ms. McLeod, right?
Yeah.
Number 10.
Number 10, I'm thinking of Dennis Murphy, and number 11, I'm thinking of Miss Watson Cafe. All right, let me see, do we have jail court IFA? No. Okay, Mr. Haddad, this will be a good time to tell me any other announcements you have on your calendar.
Sorry, Judge. On position number 22, Shanquella Howard, that's going to be a reset to January the 2nd.
Me too, Shanquella Howard, January 2nd, 2025.
Just so the court would know, on position number 33, Middleton, also reset to January 2nd. He came this morning, I spoke to him. He mentioned his lawyer's name, but it won't be ready until after January 1st, so that's the
Okay.
reason. Notice. for the
Middleton is reset to January 2nd, 2025.
And Judge, the only other person I still need to speak to if he appears is position number 40, Michael Price. That's the only one that I still have pending that I've not made an announcement on, Judge.
Okay, so you have position 40. All right. Mr. White, do you have any cases, which cases are you waiting to speak?
At this point, since those two cases were conflicted, only Mr. Milton Gonzalez Sorto, who I have a feeling may need an interpreter, but I don't know that as of yet. And number 25, Cleophas Johnson.
Cleophas Johnson. Okay, and Mr. Sorto is, okay, we'll figure out the position numbers.
He's 17,
Okay,
Judge, sorry.
17, okay, so for Mr. Haddad is position 40, and for Mr. White is position 17 and 1725, okay. I have a couple of cases where individuals have been released. I think it was a Brandon.
Position 21, Judge, was released.
All right. So 21 is released, so that's further notice for trial. What was the other one?
30.
31?
30 and 31.
Mr. Brandon Mack, yeah. It's going to be further notice for trial, positions 30 and 31. He was released.
Judge, position 38 and 39, Yasmin Persons, she should be on the competency. There's a pending evaluation on that case, Judge, and I think Mr. Bartels would ask to reset it for three weeks or so. Maybe 2 weeks.
38 and 39, Yasmin's Persons?
Yes, Judge. She's, there's a pending evaluation. Mr. Bartels is here.
That's correct. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
She is in line for the evaluation. DBHCD has received all the materials. I would just ask for a 2-week reset to January 2nd, I believe.
Okay. This will be reset to January 2nd at 11 a.m.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That's 38 and 39.
Position 48 was released.
Position 48 was released as well. No, 48 is Philip Williams. That's,
Oh, yeah, but he's released also. I know
Oh.
they waived. I just looked at it. Yeah.
Mr. White, your announcement on a waiver of arraignment for Philip Williams, apparently he was released as well.
That's my,
Just, sorry.
that's my case. He must, I mean.
He just
I
made
saw-
bond today. He just
Oh,
got out
okay.
today. He just got released today.
Perfect, all right.
Just let
Oh.
you know. So I don't know if you still want to do the waiver or you just want to reset. it.
We'll just wait until he appears in court for formal arraignment, Judge.
Okay, that case, it will just be released today and further notice for trial. Well, other than these 3 cases that I'm waiting on, I don't think my add-on calendar is completed as well. Do I have anyone here from the bench warrant calendar? And that would be Joshua Riddick and Alexander Wilson. Joshua Riddick and Alexander Wilson, if you are present, this would be the time to start your video. Okay, let's do this the painful way. I have a person on Motorola, Moto G Play. Please unmute and start your video, otherwise we'll have to remove you from Zoom. The individual who was in the car, Motorola Moto. All right. Please unmute.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, sir, you're driving?
Not, I'm parking really.
Put your both hands on your phone. Put both hands on your phone. No, put them back on the, I want to see both your hands.
Yeah, I said I was parking.
Oh, you're parking, so you're operating a motor vehicle. Okay, and what's your name?
Carlton Sharp.
All right, we're gonna put you in. We're gonna put you in the waiting room, okay? Until you're completely parked. Go ahead and do that,
Oh, yeah,
Ms.
I'm
Champion. Place
Yeah,
him in a waiting room. I'll deal with him later. Thank you. I don't need. All right. Now, I guess I'm still gonna do this the painful way. Jalen Wynn, W-I-N-N. Jalen Wynn. Najah Payne. Jewel Ross. Mary Ann iPhone, and Indra H. If you heard these names called, please unmute and start your video. Jalen Wynn, I can only see a ceiling, and we're going to remove you from Zoom if this is all we have. Jalen Wynn.
Miss Wynn and Miss Hill are both victims, and Malik Payne, there's been a waiver filed in those cases.
Okay. Ms. Wynn, for your particular case, the defendant has filed a waiver of arraignment, and the case is further noticed for trial. So you're free to go.
Can I ask what the waiver is?
A waiver is where they have entered a not guilty plea, and the case is scheduled for trial.
Okay.
All right. All right. The victim advocate's office will be in touch with you.
Okay.
You're free to go.
Thank you.
All right. Indra H. Who was the other victim, Ms. Tessiano?
Miss Jalen Wynn, the woman you were just speaking with, Your Honor.
All right.
The other
Ms.
victim is
Champion,
Indira H. Yes.
Was that the only one?
Those are the only 2 for Mr. Payne.
Who was the other one besides Jalen Wynn?
Indira Hill. I
Okay.
think she's Indira H.
All right. Miss Indra Hill, please unmute. Did you hear the announcement for the defendant in your case?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right. You're free to go. Ms. Champion, we can remove Jalen Wynn and Indra H from the Zoom, please.
Nigel Payne as well. I was just a witness for the case.
All right. You are free to go as well. The case is
Thank
going to
you.
be scheduled for trial. Thank you. All right.
Have a green chart for Dr. Benfield. Chart for Dr. Benfield.
Yeah. Mary Ann, not
Hey.
sure what your last name is, but
Hi, that's me. It's Miller, and my questions were kind of just answered. Because earlier in the call, I heard that the defendant also had a waiver. So I guess that means that he is electing a trial.
yes,
Okay, and I will be
Oh.
noting that as well.
correct.
Okay. Does that mean he stays in, or
He's got a bond. He'll be released whenever he makes bond.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Jail court iPhone, are we ready?
Yes, we have position number 25, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. We are waiting on position 40, 17, and now 25. So let's address position 25. We have State versus Cleophas Lamar Johnson, accused of simple battery family violence from June 1st, 2023. Mr. Johnson, my name is Judge Law. We're going to give you an opportunity to speak with your attorney. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and presently you're represented by Mr. White. You need a breakout, Mr. White?
That would probably be the easiest, Judge.
All right. Ms. Champion, please place jail court iPhone and Tom White into a breakout. You need your video on, Mr. White. Okay. Ms. Jewel Ross, which case are you here for?
Yasmin Persons.
Ms. Persons' case has been reset to January 2nd at 11 a.m. And the attorney is Mr. Paul Bartel with the Public Defender's Office. Please reach out to the Public Defender's Office and they can advise you of what is the status of the case. I would not be discussing this case in open court because sensitive information is involved.
Okay, how do I get the information for the?
Mr. Haddad, is there a number she can reach to get a message to Mr. Paul Bartel?
Yes, Judge, I can, I'll put my number. I don't know Paul's number right offhand, but I'll put my number in the chat and you can call me tomorrow and I'll give you Ms. Bartel's phone number.
All right. Ms. Jewel Ross?
I'll also put my email address as well. That might be the easiest.
Okay. And this will be to participant Jewel Ross, R-O-S-S. Thank you. Ms. Ross, please monitor your chat. And Ms. Champion, we can mute their screens, Courtroom 2 and Jewel Ross. Thank you. All right. I think I have addressed almost everyone whom I can address. We'll be in a brief recess until Mr. White appears or Mr. Haddad's client appears. So we'll hold. All right. Mr. White, how are we proceeding with Mr. Johnson?
Your Honor, Mr. Johnson would like to enter a plea today.
All right. Please unmute jail court iPhone. Mr. Johnson, with regards to the charge of simple battery family violence, we're going to have a plea hearing. And if you please raise your right hand, if you could. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? All right, thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is 12 months served 30 days, credit for time served 15 days from December 5th, 2024 to today, balance probated. complete family violence intervention program, no firearms, no contact with Serena Roming, stay away from 415 Fairburn Road, Southwest in Atlanta. We'd ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and ID for purposes of the plea. And if you can sound for Miss Raming, however you say that. Thank you.
Serena Raming is not on Zoom. Mr. White, do you so stipulate?
We do stipulate, Your Honor. We just have a few things. Ms. Raming and Mr. Johnson do share a child together, and we would, if Ms. Raming is in agreement, we would ask that they be able to go through a third party if she's willing to allow visitation of the child. He is also going to be going through the legitimation process, easy for me to say. And ask that probation go to non-reporting once he completes all of his requirements.
Any comment on the third-party transfer or contact with the child or children?
Your Honor, your bond order specifically stated that the defendant had to file for legitimation.
Okay.
Our position would be that he needs to, if he's planning on going through the legitimation process, the Superior Court can handle custody, visitation, and all of that. We have no objection in non-reporting once he completes the conditions.
All right. Answer to both questions are, Mr. Johnson, you will have to file a legitimation action in the Superior Court to obtain a court order to establish joint visitation, custody, and child support. All right? And with respect to the probation, once you've completed all the conditions and your probation fees are up to date, your probation may be non-reporting. All right. So would we like to proceed with the plea?
We would, Judge.
Mr. Johnson, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No.
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
Yes.
And are you satisfied with your legal services?
Yes.
Are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea to this charge, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not get the chance to go back to court to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, present your arguments and defenses in a court of law, and have the state prove the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of simple battery family violence?
Yes.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. If you have no other holds, you'll be released within 24 hours, but you report to probation on Monday, December 23rd, before 3 p.m. at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you are to have no contact with Serena Raming. You are to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. In order to seek contact with any child or children you share with her, you must file a separate legitimation action to establish a court order for custody, visitation, and child support. You are to enroll and complete a 26-week family violence program, and you're required to enroll in the program within 30 days of being released. You will begin those classes at your expense, and you cannot skip any of those classes. You must present a certificate of completion to your probation officer after the 26 weeks of classes are completed satisfactorily. You cannot return, and you must stay away from 415 Fairburn Road in Southwest Atlanta, and you are not allowed to own, possess, or have any firearms near you. All right? Once you've completed the domestic violence program and you're up to date with your probation fees, your probation will be non-reporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position number 17 and 18, Mr. Gonzalez.
All right. Mr. Gonzalez, do you speak English, sir?
No.
Was that a no?
That's what he said, Judge, I believe, no.
All right. And Ms. Champion or Ms. Lewis, have we requested a court interpreter?
No.
Judge, we didn't request one because we weren't sure if we needed it
Okay.
before I actually got a chance to speak with him.
Well, the next available date is December 26th.
Let's do that if we
All
can.
right. Next court date for Gonzalez Sorto is December 26th, and we'll need a Spanish interpreter in court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Gonzalez Sorto, see you on December 26th. Do you understand?
Next week, the day after Christmas. Okay. Next we have, he didn't have a position number. It was like a question mark next to his name. Mr. Smith, Mr. Gary Smith. Do we need him?
Can I have his case number, please? Or jailing number?
Judge, he's on the competency calendar.
Okay. Mr. Bartel, have you had a chance to speak to, is this Mr., I'm sorry, who is he? Gary?
That is Mr. Smith, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. How are you doing?
Mr. Gary Smith, have you spoken to your attorney?
Yes, I have.
It's an announcement regarding a placement status, Your Honor. Do you want to do that now or go into a breakout room?
I can go into a breakout room. Ms. Champion, could you please courtroom 2, jail court iPhone, Ms. Desiano and Ms. Falk and myself. Ms. Falk, could you please appear on screen?
Also, I don't see Ms. Williams present, Your Honor, Ms. Amin Williams. She's working on a placement for Mr. Smith, but I just talked to her about 10 minutes ago.
All right,
So I can make the announcement.
All right.
Miss Falk messaged me. She'll be right back. There's something going on in Judge Taylor's courtroom she had to attend to. But
All
I'll
right.
cover.
Let's go ahead and place you, Ms. Desiano. Okay, Ms. Champion, it will be courtroom 2, myself, jail court iPhone, and Taylor Desiano.
Mr. Riddick, if you can hear me, just texted you a number to call. I misspoke. I didn't text it to you. I sent it by the chat.
How do you go back to the chat? I'm not sure how to use Zoom.
There should be a little icon. Where to click on. Or maybe they can put us in a breakout room. Can anybody put Mr. Riddick and myself in a breakout room?
Yes, I'll put you guys in a breakout room, Mr. White.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks, just an update on the calendar for our 2 cases involving conflict counsel. Position number it's Coleman, right? 10 and 11. Robert Coleman on position number 10 is reset to December 26th. SAP calendar for attorney Dennis Murphy to speak with him. And position 11, Leroy Cooper, is reset to January 2nd, 2025 for conflict counsel Zakira Watson Cafe to speak with him. Ms. Watson Cafe has a conflict notice for December 26th. So unfortunately, I can't place him on next week's calendar. And given the holiday schedule, these are the earliest available dates for both these gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, the deputy at Jail Court iPhone is going to see if he can get Mr. Michael Price. Position 40 for Mr. Haddad. In the meantime, do we have our bench warrant cases ready? I have Joshua Riddick. Is he speaking in a breakout?
He is.
Okay. Is there Alexander Wilson? Alexander Wilson. Okay. Ms. Desiano, is Ms. Falk still with Judge Taylor's?
As far as I know, Your Honor, I asked Ms. Champion if she could remove her from the breakout room because I I don't believe she's actively at her computer.
Okay, so we'll just wait for Ms. Falk before we begin our competency cases. So we'll be in a brief recess until Mr. Riddick or Mr. Alexander Wilson appears. Mr. Haddad, you got the notice about Michael Price? The deputy at Jail Court iPhone is going to try to retrieve him. He's in a different location.
I did, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you.
What was the announcement on number 12 and 13?
Oops. Mamoudou Diallo, that would be Mr. Bartel's case?
Judge, that's Mr. White's case on Diallo. I believe it's supposed to be a plea.
Boy, he didn't mention that. Okay.
At least I think that's the notes, the email that I sent last night. I think that's what it says, but.
That's what it said. I just thought we were holding on just a couple and the rest were either reset or waived. And that was one I wasn't unsure about. What about position 19 and 20?
Wayne Gore?
Judge, I believe that's a waiver.
Yeah, no, that one's just a request to reset to January 14th.
That's right.
This is just a reset to January 14th.
Thank you.
Any others, Ms. Taylor? Because I haven't gone through the entire calendar to see what else has not been addressed.
Let me see. I just had a couple that I missed when we were going over 23.
'23 is reset January 2nd. There wasn't any particular reason except Defense Counsel requested it, January 2nd.
Thank you. I think that's the last one. Let's see.
Okay. We'll be in a brief recess until Mr. Riddick or Ms. Wilson or one of the other cases appears. Thank you.
Hey, Tom?
All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Haddad, did you want to speak to Mr. White?
No, just, Mr. White, is the position 12 and 13 Diallo, is that gonna be a plea?
It is.
Okay, so we need to let the deputy know. Mahmoud Diallo is another case we need to retrieve. Okay, are we ready to address Joshua White, Riddick?
We are, Judge.
All right, Mr. Riddick, please remove your hat. You're in a court of law. Thank you. This is State versus Joshua Riddick, accused of simple battery family violence from May 14, 2024. Case number 24 CR 003058J. Mr. Riddick, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Presently, you're represented by Mr. Tom White with the Public Defender's Office. Mr. Riddick received a signature bond through pretrial on May 16th, 2024 at first appearance. And apparently, he failed to appear in court on December 4th, 2024. we received a return to sender mail, which was sent to 4001 Lakemont Drive in College Park. And that is the address he was required to stay away. So that address was not valid, and he was required to update the court with a new address within 30 days of being released from jail. Okay. Yes, Mr. White.
Your Honor, Mr. Johnson doesn't have an address right now. He's actually living out of his car. So that's why he has not provided one. We do have, he has been in touch with his mother, and we have an address in Fayetteville where his mother will alert him to any further notices. He is on pretrial. He's been reporting to pretrial and doing, he's also currently looking for employment. So we're just asking to give him one reset, and I can give the address for his mother. I've also instructed him that he can, he does have a phone that he can look on the Fulton County website every week to check for upcoming cases, and he can also follow it that way. He's never missed court on this case before, and my understanding he's never missed court ever. So we would ask that he be allowed to.
Well, it's the very first court date. It's the one and only one. So.
Right.
Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, we'll leave it in your discretion.
All right. Mr. Riddick, I'm going to set aside the bench warrant. Within 30 days, I'll need you, within 30 days from today, today is December 19th, by January 19th, 2025, you're required to come down to court, to the clerk's office at 160 Prior Street, and give us a mailing address in writing.
Judge, I have that right now that I can give the court.
Okay, well, I'm still going to require him to do that. I want him to practice how to give a new address. He gave us one in Fayetteville. Is that the one?
Yes, 315 Grady Ave.
All right. And so we'll reinstate him on his signature bond through pretrial. He'll be required to report. This is family violence. Okay. And yep, make sure if he misses court again, the next time it'll be, he'll have to come down to Wright Street Jail and just turn himself in.
He understands, Judge.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Riddick, you're free to go. Make sure that you show up to court when summoned. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have someone on iPhone who's appeared. What's your name?
Alexander Wilson.
All right, Mr. Wilson, please remove your hoodie. You're in a court of law.
And if I could have a breakout with Mr. Wilson, Your Honor.
Sure. Ms. Champion, please place Miss, hang on, Mr. White, hang on. Jail court iPhone, who do we have?
We have position number 40. This is Mr. Michael White.
That's Mr. Had, is that Mr. Haddad's?
It is, Judge, and if they can call courtroom 2 so I can speak to him.
Okay. Ms. Champion, please place Alexander Wilson and Tom White in a breakout. And then please place jail court iPhone and courtroom 2 in a breakout. I don't see anyone else in courtroom 2.
Judge, I don't know if they can do, maybe they can do a breakout. I'm not sure. But
well, let's see. Abracadabra. Let's see if you disappear.
They can't, they just gotta accept it, that's all.
Give us a moment, sir. We'll make you disappear from the main session.
Yeah, they just gotta accept it, that's all.
They did.
Yeah, they accept it.
Jail court iPhone, you're gonna be in a breakout?
Okay.
Mr. Riddick, you're free to leave the Zoom.
I'm sorry.
You're free to go. You can cancel the Zoom session. Okay. All right. Okay, we're back to being in a recess again. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I believe Ms. Falk is back if you want to do the competency calendar.
Mr. Bartel also needs to be back. Okay, let's see. Let's do position 4-0. This is State versus Michael Price, accused of criminal trespass from December 4th, 2024. Mr. Price, my name is Judge Lal. Your case number is 24 CR 7974H. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is going to be Mr. Haddad. Mr. Haddad, how are we proceeding?
It's gonna be a plea, Judge.
All right. Mr. Price, please raise your right hand for purposes of the plea. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
You put your hand down. Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Your Honor, state's recommendation is 12 months served 30 days. Credit for time served 15 days from December 5th, 2024 to today. Balance suspended. Stay away from 645 Cascade Avenue, which is the Beauty Exchange Supply Store. And we'd ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and ID for purposes of the plea.
All right.
We stipulate, Judge.
All right. Mr. Price, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No,
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
If you decide to plead guilty today, you would have to give up your right to a trial. You will not get a chance to confront your accuser, to challenge the evidence in a court of law, to present your defenses and arguments, and have the state prove the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
The sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days. Credit for time served 15 days, balance suspended. You're required to stay away from the Beauty Exchange Supply Store at 645 Cascade Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia.
Go.
If you're seen within 200 yards of that location, you could be arrested and brought back to jail with a new case. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, do we need, positions number 11 and positions 12 and 13?
We need position 12 and 13. We just need to let Mr. Position 11, Mr. Cooper know. Is Mr. Cooper present?
No, not yet. I have to go up there and get him. I was just asking before
I
went up
think,
there.
I think we better bring Mr. Cooper. I was going to reset the case to January 2nd because of conflict counsel. But I'll need to let him know why.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yep.
And 12 and 13, we do need him, yes. Is Mr. Bartel in courtroom 2?
He's here, Judge.
All right, Mr. Bartel, do you want to go into a breakout with Ms. Falk, Ms. Burgess?
Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Champion, if you could place Ms. Falk, are we ready?
Yes, Your Honor, we are.
Okay, good. Ms. Champion, if you could place Ms. Falk, courtroom 2, myself, Kia Burgess. I think that's it. Into the breakout, please. And Miss Katrina Lewis.
Hey guys.
Mr. Wilson, the judge will be back in a minute.
Okay, thanks.
No worries.
It's cold today too.
All right, folks, Mr. Wilson, you can put your book down and we can address your case. This is Alexander Wilson, accused of battery, family violence from January 26, 2024, case number 24 CR 522F. Mr. Wilson, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Presently, your attorney is going to be Tom White, who has conferred with you with regards to this bench warrant pending against you. All right, Mr. White?
Yes, Your Honor. Apparently he missed court on November 20th. And he's been in contact with pretrial the whole time. He had strep throat and a temperature, and that's why he missed his court date. He has a good address with the court. Again, he's on pretrial and been reporting to them, and we don't think this will happen again.
Ms. Desiano, do you have the doctor's note?
I do not, Your Honor.
He has
Pretrial have any?
he has emails. I mean, he said he could provide screenshots if we need to do that, but he hasn't missed court on the case before, so he's here. He's been to the clerk's office a couple of different times to make sure everything.
We just need a doctor's note to verify that he has strep throat. He was ill, unable, but I mean, that's great, but we just need to verify. Screenshots won't work. It needs to be an actual. No, I'm unable to attend court on November, what was it?
20th, Judge.
20th, yeah. Almost a month ago. So he's got his doctor's note?
Judge, I don't know of a doctor's note, but
I know. If I skip class, I have to bring a doctor's note. If my kid skips class, I have to bring a doctor's note. So this is a very easy peasy kind of thing for me to deal with. Mr. Wilson, where's your doctor's note?
Can I speak?
You have a right to remain silent.
Is that okay?
Anything you choose to say can and will be used against you. But if you waive your right to remain silent, that's up to you and your attorney.
Well, so that question was rhetorical?
No, if you're completely permitted to speak, where'd he go?
he's having some bandwidth issues, Judge. He was coming in and out when I was in the breakout with him. It may be best to allow him to not turn on his camera. That seems to help.
Mr. Wilson? Alexander?
Y'all still there?
Yeah, go ahead. I've already advised you of your right to remain silent. If you want to waive it, that's entirely up to you.
I'll leave it up to Mr. White. But I informed him.
I need a doctor's note.
Judge,
Your Honor,
I have,
if you sent it to pretrial, then they should have it. It should be something very simple to get. And I would add that he has 15 arrest cycles, Your Honor, 5 of which are failure to appears. And he was actually on the calendar for Tuesday and failed to appear. And this case, Judge Morrow said the bench warrant would remain. I'm not really sure why it got reset. But at this point, the state's position is that we're asking that the bench warrant remain. I don't think he has a bond on the bench warrant, though. But he's out on a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Okay. All right.
And Judge, again, he's been in contact with the pretrial constantly. He's been back and forth to the clerk's office. He's not avoiding court.
He is. He didn't show up again. Didn't you just hear Ms. Desiano? He had a court date on December 17th, which was 2 days ago.
Judge, my point is he's not intentionally avoiding court. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here with us today. He wouldn't have gone
Okay,
to the office.
Mr. White, I totally will buy he's not intentionally avoiding court. So explain to me why he didn't appear in court in the last two court dates that he had. December
the first-
17th and November 20th.
Well, we did explain the 20th, and I did not know of the 17th.
Okay. Pretrial services. Is it Ms. Bostic? Ms. Bostic? I don't know whether she's.
Yeah, she's a pretrial.
Yes, Judge.
We have Alexander Wilson, 24 CR 522F 0005. He claims that he reported to pretrial on November 20th.
He just stated he was sick. I don't have anything saying that that he gave a doctor's note.
Okay.
It just says client misstated he was sick.
All right. All right, Mr. Wilson, you can put your video on now. Alexander Wilson, is he gone again?
And there is a bond on the FTA, it's a $10,000 surety by Judge Richardson.
$10,000 surety bond by Judge Richardson. Mr. Alexander Wilson is off. Is he in the waiting room, Ms. Champion?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. White, do you have a number to reach him?
Yeah, he gave it to me in a chat. Here, I'll send it to Mr. White.
All right, Mr. White, if you want to call him up, he needs to appear.
Okay.
We'll wait.
I'm sure he's trying. He did get kicked off a couple of times while we were.
No problem. I'll wait. Okay, while we're waiting for Mr. Wilson, on the state all-purpose add-on calendar, position 1 is further notice for trial, position 2 and 3 were pleas, and position 4 was a waiver and further notice for trial. On the bench warrant case, position 1, Mr. White will send in an order to set aside the bench warrant. And position 2, we are waiting on Mr. Wilson. On the state all-purpose calendar, position 1 was a plea, position 2 was a waiver of arraignment. Position 2 and 3 were waiver of arraignments, further notice for trial. Position 4, Anderson's waiver and further notice. 5, waiver, further notice. 6, waiver, further notice. 7, waiver, further notice. 8, Cofield, waiver, further notice. 9, Coleman is reset to December 26th. Position 10, Robert Coleman is reset to December 26th. Position 9 was Aaron Coleman, 10 is Robert Coleman, both reset. Mr. Robert Coleman is appointed Dennis Murphy to represent him. Mr. Wilson's back. All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay, we stopped at Robert Coleman, position 10. Okay. All right, Mr. Alexander Wilson,
Yes, ma'am.
I've heard from Mr. White, I've heard from Ms. Desiano, and I've heard from pretrial. They have no documentation to verify that you had a sick visit or that you were otherwise medically unavailable to attend court on November
Did you speak?
20th.
Did you speak with Mr. Higgins?
No,
he's
we
going-
spoke, every time you speak to pretrial, they're supposed to log notes or keep documents of anything you've sent them.
Clear, there were notes logged that he did say that he was sick.
Yeah, but understand, I've got that. I've got the message that he was sick. I don't have any verification.
I
that he
took a
was-
picture. I took a picture of my thermometer, that also showed that I was sick.
The bench warrant request, the set aside the bench warrant is denied. The current bond has been set by Judge Richardson. It's a $10,000 surety bond. Mr. Wilson, you are to report to the Fulton County Jail by 5 p.m. tomorrow, December 20th, 2024. In the event that you make the $10,000 bond, the original conditions of your pretrial bond shall remain in place. From this point onwards, in this particular case, you are not going to be eligible for a signature bond. Thank you.
Judge, is there any way we could have that 10,000?
It was set
cut?
by Judge Richardson,
I
and
understand, Judge.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I don't understand why if I have documentation and it's on record.
See you in jail. See you at the jail court tomorrow before 5.
I don't understand it.
Your attorney will explain it to you.
Can we be placed into a breakout?
All right. Ms. Champion, please place iPhone and Mr. Tom White in a breakout. And Mr. Haddad, we will continue with the calendar. Position 11, Leroy Cooper is reset to January 2nd for Zakia Watson Cafe to be appointed. She's got a conflict notice for the 26th of December. 12 and 13 is Mahmoudou Diallo. That's Mr. White's case. We're still waiting for him to show up. I'm also actually waiting for Mr. Leroy Cooper to show up. So that's 11, 12, and 13. Let's see now. Chiquita Favors, position 14 was a plea. 15 and 16 are reset to January 2nd, 2025. Position 17, we need a Spanish interpreter, so that's reset to December 26th, and that's for 17 and 18. Position 19 is reset to January 14th, 2025, along with position 20. Position 21 is further notice for trial. Position 22 is reset to January 2nd. Position 23 is reset to January 2nd. Jenkins, position 24 is reset to January 2nd. Position 25 was a plea. Position 26, Sylvester Kennedy is reset, and 26 and 27, reset to January 9th, 2025. Position 28 and 29, Leon is a waiver and further notice for trial. Brandon Mack, position 30 and 31, further notice, he was released. So it's further notice for trial. Position 32, Stephanie McCray was a plea. 33, Middleton is reset to January 2nd of next year. 34, Moore is a Grady reset to December 26th. 35, Malik Payne, who is 35, 36, and 37, is a waiver and further notice for trial. 38 and 39 are reset to the competency calendar on January 2nd, pending evaluation. Position 40, Michael Price was a plea. 41, Roundsville was a plea. 42, Sharp was a plea. 43, Sylvester Kennedy, who has 2 other cases, also reset to January 9. 44, Trammell was a plea. 45, Trimble is a waiver and further notice. 46, Waldrop is a waiver and further notice. 47, Williams Macio is a null pros. And 48, Philip Williams was released today and further notice for trial. Jail court iPhone, who do we have?
We have position number 11, Mr. Cooper.
All right. Mr. Leroy Cooper, my name is Judge Lal. Your case number is 24 CR 008006G. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. We had previously appointed conflict counsel Dennis Murphy to represent you, but Mr. Murphy cannot represent you because he represents one of the other defendants in the case involving you. The other conflict counsel, Maureen McLeod, cannot represent you because she's also representing another defendant involved in the same case involving you. So therefore, we are appointing Zakira Watson Cafe. Ms. Watson Cafe is not representing any other person in the case involving you. So she's eligible to be appointed. She is not available on December 26th, which is our next court date. After that, the earliest court date is January 2nd, 2025. And that would be the next available court date for you to speak with appointed counsel to decide how you want to move forward with your case. Presently, you have 2 open cases with us. This 24 CR 8006G for criminal trespass, and one other case, 24 CR 492G for simple battery, family violence.
Can I say something?
You may, about your court dates.
That family violence, why has that come up on me, Your Honor, with the case at hand now?
Give me a moment. Give me a moment, please. I want to make sure I give you the right information. That family violence case is not holding you at the jail. It's just been added on to this new case that you've got for criminal trespass at the Polaris at East Point. So this is an opportunity for your appointed counsel to address both cases with you, because currently the prosecutor has made an offer for both cases. That's why both cases are on the calendar.
Okay, so I'm charged with criminal trespassing, and I don't have a counselor. I don't have any. I don't understand in a way. I don't understand why I got to wait so long for that court date.
Because I don't have an appointed counsel available for you until January 2nd. Of course, you are entitled to an appointed counsel if you cannot afford one, but you also have the right to hire your own attorney at your expense, or you may choose to represent yourself. If you waive your right to counsel, please understand that you're responsible for understanding all the how the law applies to the facts of your case, and that you're responsible for any legal decision you make and the impact it may have upon you.
Yes, ma'am. I think I would like to. I would like to do it myself. Because it's really necessary. I was trying to help someone.
Okay.
And that was
If
all it
you
was.
choose to represent yourself, you need to waive your right to counsel.
Well, I think I waive my right to counsel because that's too long for me to be in jail. Well, it's just a simple matter.
All right. I am going to let Ms. Falk let you know what is the recommendation that they are offering. And if you don't want to accept the recommendation, then you have a right to plead not guilty and have the case scheduled for trial. Do you understand, sir?
I understand, I kind of understand, but now I'm charged with criminal trespassing. And
You are charged with criminal trespass, but you have another open case for simple battery family violence. This is involving LaDonna Cooper.
That's correct. She had passed away. LaDonna had died. My friend had passed away. And Your Honor, that was a misunderstanding kind of a thing.
I don't want to hear the facts of the case, sir, because you have a right to remain silent. But if you're telling me that Ms. Cooper is deceased, I mean, the state has a right to inquire into that and investigate that so they can consider it.
Yeah, she passed away. She had a heart attack.
Okay. I can reset your case to December 26th then, if you want to choose to represent yourself, or I can see if another appointed counsel may be available by then.
I would like to have that done, please.
Okay. Ms. Falk, on the 24 CR 492G, according to the defendant, the alleged victim is now deceased. So if y'all would like to inquire into that, and I'm going to reset his case to December 26th.
Yes, Your Honor, and we will inquire into that and have an answer by the 26th.
All right. At that time, Mr. Cooper, then the prosecution will also give you a global offer for both cases. All right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Next, we have positions 12 and 13, Mr. Diallo.
All right. This is State versus Mamoudou Diallo. Mr. White, did you need to speak with him?
No, Your Honor, I spoke with him yesterday.
And how are we moving forward?
It's still a plea, Judge.
All right. Mamoudou Diallo is case 24 CR 5187H, accused of 2 counts of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. And his next case is 24 FTA 1886, failure to appear in court on November 20th, 2024. Mr. Diallo, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and Mr. Tom White is representing you. For purposes of the plea, may I place you under oath? Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation on this case on position 12 is 12 months served, 72 days. Credit for time served, 43 days. That's going to be from July 5th to July 30th of this year and December 3rd to today. Balance probated, a $300 fine. Count 2 is 12 months concurrent with count 1. Position 13 will be a null pros upon the acceptance of this plea. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea.
Judge, we stipulate for the purposes of the plea. We are asking that his fine be converted to community service and allows probation to terminate or go non-reporting upon completion.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor. It was a statutory fine. If the court sees fit to convert it to community service, we don't have any objection.
All right. Mr. Diallo, I'll amend that to 30 hours of community service. Have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently, Mr. Diallo?
Oh, ma'am.
Have you understood what's going on in your cases? Repeat. Have you understood what's going on?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Has he explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty to these 2 counts of willful obstruction, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial? You will not be able to go back to court to confront your accuser, to be able to challenge the evidence brought against you, to present your arguments and defenses, and have the state prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 2 counts of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Accept your guilty plea. Count 2 will be concurrent with count 1, and the sentence for count 1 is 12 months to serve 72 days. Credit for time served 43 days. Balance probated. You will, if you have no other cases holding you at the jail, you will report to probation on Monday, December 23rd, before 3 p.m. At the probation office is at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, yes, sir?
He does have a hold.
Okay. So then he will report to probation immediately after he's released from his hold on a Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, within 48 hours of being released. And he will, while on probation, he will complete 30 hours of voluntary community service with any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school. He must do a minimum of 5 hours per month and until the 30 hours are completed. His probation will be non-reporting once he has completed the 30 hours of community service and he's up to date with his probation fees. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May I ask a question, please?
Judge,
You mind if I ask, who do I got to hold for? Or what is my hold for?
The theft charges that we talked about yesterday.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought I heard her say, say my next court date, mention my next court date. Well, what was that?
No, she didn't say anything about your next court date.
All right, thanks, sir.
No worries.
All right. Thank you.
Judge, I apologize. On position number 9, it was my understanding that he decided to represent himself and he indicated that he wants a trial. Am I wrong?
Robert Coleman,
Aaron.
Aaron Coleman.
Aaron Coleman. That's the
Aaron-
one who withdraw.
Yeah, Aaron Coleman is reset to December 26th for him to represent himself and consider the plea offer, and then let me know how he wants to plead.
Understood. Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Your Honor, positions 23 and 25, can I get the announcements on those?
Okay. Deputy, did you have something to add?
No, I was just gonna ask, did you guys need anybody else?
Let me see, 23, Christopher Jackson's reset to January 2nd, and 25 was a plea, Cleophas Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Deputy, no, I don't believe so. I think Mr. White, is there anyone else on your calendar we've not addressed?
No, Judge, not on the calendar. I would like to revisit Mr. Wilson's case
Okay.
briefly. Good.
Give me a moment. Mr. Haddad, is there anyone on your calendar we've not addressed?
No, everybody's taken care of, Judge, and if I'm.
All right. Yes, thank you, Deputy. We are done. Appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Mr. White.
Your Honor, Mr. Wilson provided me information on the 17th court date. Apparently that was a Zoom court date where he did log on to court. He spoke with Michael Jordan. There were issues. I'm not sure. It may have been similar to what we've got going on today with his phone cutting in and out and him actually being dropped. He says he has screenshots from being in the Zoom at some point. So we were just asked if you reconsider, give him one more shot to come back to court. I mean, all due respect, a doctor's note for a missed court date, he may not have been able to get to court, sick. I wouldn't want him there spreading strep or anything else. If I were in the courtroom or representing him, and he's been as compliant as he's tried to be compliant. He's not willfully, he's not thumbing his nose at the court. He wants to come to court. He wants his day in court. So we would just ask that you consider setting aside the bench warrant this one last time. He understands that any other issues, he will not be given another chance.
All right. Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, I received an email from Mr. Jordan with the updated DV bench calendar for today to include Mr. Wilson at approximately 12:30 p.m., which was about an hour after court was over. I have no documentation to say he was on the Zoom. I personally did not see him on the Zoom. We were waiting for a period of time for him to appear, but I did receive an email after court was already over about it.
And you were there in Judge Richardson's court for December 17th?
No.
No, Your Honor, he was on the SAP calendar.
Oh, on the SAP calendar.
On Tuesday.
I see.
And I'll also note that Mr. Jordan did not put in his email at all that he was on the Zoom and he was trying to log in or any of that. He just said, I added a case for Thursday, Alexander Wilson, that was on today's calendar. I was just about to send out the calendar, but these two cases were reset. And then some other information about other cases. There's no information that he was on the Zoom and was having technical difficulties or anything like that.
Well, that doesn't mean it's not true, and it does show that he did not miss another court date in Judge Richardson's court.
Okay. Anything else?
And nothing further, Judge.
Yes, Mr. Wilson.
I can provide the screenshots need be.
Mr. Wilson, your credibility with me is shot. So you're going to surrender yourself to the Fulton County Jail tomorrow, and Judge Richardson is going to determine your bond. Thank you.
I don't understand how if I have proof being inside Zoom. That seems unfair and unjust.
Mr. Wilson, if you claimed you were sick on November 20th and you had strep throat and you went to the doctor,
courtroom.
You simply need to get a medical excuse for why you did not show up in court. And you did not.
Difficult from jail, Judge.
Opportunity to prove it. You're not.
Now he's going to jail and he can make the bond. He has a history of failure to
We're going back
appear.
and forth, but
His credibility is gone with me. I'm not prepared
I'm trying evidence.
It's not, you're not, Mr. Wilson, just You can't help yourself at this point, so all you can do is make it worse.
He had a screenshot of a thermometer. Come on, give me a break.
Judge doesn't, I mean,
Give me a break. Okay, guys?
not having a note to go to school doesn't get you thrown in jail.
Right. Georgia does. Don't you know about the absences? All right, we are done with these court and thank you. I'll do the set aside on the bench warrant for Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, please report to court to the Fulton County Rice Street Jail before 5 p.m. tomorrow per Judge Richardson's order. And that is the bench warrant issued by him. The $10,000 surety bond was set by him. And that's the judge with whom you have to deal with in order to address your bond. Thank you. All right, folks, we are concluded. Thank you.
Okay, Your Honor, so you do not need an order from me on Mr. Wilson?
Oh, if you're going to do it, that'll be great. Thank you.
I've already prepared 90% of it, so I'll send it.
Okay. No need for me to do it again then. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, everyone, if I don't see you before the holidays begin, I feel for some people it already has, but happy holidays, greetings, happy greetings. And if I don't see you also on New Year's, happy New Year and see you next year. Okay,
Same to
take
you,
care,
Judge.
everyone.
Happy
Take
New
care.